this is the question paper of Maharashtra State that was conducted this Sunday. I hope it is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
And when we are solving the questions, I'll also tell you what are the mistakes you are committing. The only advice is read the question properly, read word per word. Okay, so let's discuss about the first question. The work Expector of Marx. So this is a Marxist book. And you know, Raymond William is also a Marxist. Terry Galton is also a Marxist. Frederick Jameson is not. And Jacques Derrida, in the latter part of the life, he was also connected with Karl Marx. So a bit confusing question if you are not aware of about the options properly. Anyone has solved this question?
Yes, sir. So I have solved some of the questions, and the answer was quite, you can say, shocking for me, because I also thought that Raymond William is the answer, as he was related with Marxism, but the answer is Jacques Derrida. And this book is also published, I think, in the year 1993. Yes, 1993. So this book is quite old.
Yes, exactly. So as I said, that the later part of the life, Jacques Derrida was quite inspired by the works of Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx. That was the Communist Manifesto. So this work is totally an allusion of the Communist Manifesto published in 1993, The Spectres of Marx. So it's a quite confusing question. It has been taken from literary criticism part of the syllabus. Let's talk about the second question. Who is the author of The Great Tradition? Again, a question from the literary criticism.
Answer is F.R. Lewis. That is correct.
Yes, F.R. Lewis is the correct answer. This book was published in the year 1948 by F.R. Lewis, in which he talked about a few names like Jane Austen, George Eliot, Henry James, and Joseph Conrad as the greatest novelists. Later on, he included some more names like Charles Dickens, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Herman Melville, and Edgar Allan Poe. And he said that these are the successors of Shakespeare. Okay. So lots of questions from literary criticism. You can see the third question again from literary criticism part, which we have clearly discussed while we were talking about Aristotle. Pergession, hamartia, anagnorisis. And hamartia means the tragic fall or the fault of a character, a negative thing in a character. That is hamartia. So or you can say the error.
Okay, so I can recall I have read that it means missing the mark.
Missing the mark is absolutely right answer. Hamartia means a fall, an error inside an individual. That means the individual is missing the mark. Missing the mark means he is having some fault. So the options are a bit confusing. So misdirection cannot be. If you know the logic, if you know the concept of hamartia, you cannot mistake this question. If you don't know what is missing the mark, mistaken identity cannot be the right answer. Misconception cannot be the right answer. Misdirection cannot be the right answer, because hamartia talks about the fault of an individual. Because of that, he is going to fall. The tragedy.
Isn't it the misunderstanding? Hamartia is not actually.
It is not the misunderstanding. It is an error inside an individual, because we have lots of virtues, but along with that we are having some misvirtues. Hamartia is a misvirtue which is responsible for the fall of an individual, because according to Aristotle, he talks about a good man and a bad man. He says that a good man cannot fall. So the protagonist has to be rather a good man. A rather good man means he is a good man, but there is some hamartia, some error, some fault inside his personality. Because of that, he will fall in this tragedy. Like if we talk about the character Hamlet, what is the Hamartia of Hamlet?
Confusion. He's not able to take the decisions.
Procrastination. Procrastination is the,
Procrastination.
yes, procrastination is the Hamartia. It is the fault which is responsible for the fall of Hamlet. What is the Hamartia of Othello?
Sir, disbelief, Desdemona, and
Jealousy.
yes.
So Othello was having a Hamartia of jealousy, and that was the reason for his fall. What is the Hamartia of Macbeth?
Over
Over-ambitious.
ambitious.
Yes, ambitious. He was over ambitious. So that is the Hamartia of Macbeth. So likewise, every protagonist is having some error in his personality. That is known as Hamartia. So how can it be mistaken identity? Okay, so next coming to the fourth question. This question just now we have finished in the revision class of journals, and I said
Sir, the
one question.
Spectator.
The Spectator.
Female Tatler is by some unknown female writer. In during 1710.
So 1709 Tatler, 1711 Spectator. So I think the Spectator is right answer.
Yes,
Sir,
and
but
sir,
Spectator is
Female
by
Tatler is
Addison, no?
written
The
by
owner
some.
of Spectator was Addison, not Steele.
No, actually,
Tatler was also not by Steele. It was jointly by Steele and Addison. The founder was Steele.
Actually, sir, Female Tatler was by some unknown lady author, na, sir. That is in 1710, I think.
A Female Tatler was by Krakenthorpe.
Krakenthorpe in 1709.
Miss Krakenthorpe, 1709. Absolutely right. The question is the Journal of Steele that succeeded the Tatler. So Female Tatler was not the Journal of Steele. That's the first question. Female Tatler cannot be the right answer. Female Spectator, there is no such journal. We have already studied. Athenian Mercury, no such journal of Richard Steele. The only option left here is the Spectator. But yes, you are right that Spectator was founded by Addison, but Steele was also the contributor.
So I was confused because it is talking about Steele and Spectator was by Addison, Joseph Addison.
That's true, but at least Steele is there in the Spectator. In other options, is not at all there.
Okay, sir.
So if we go by the options, yeah, we can argue that the Spectator was founded by Addison, but if we have the options where we can't find any journal by Steele, so we must go for the Spectator. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Matthew Arnold's model of culture and anarchy.
I think, sir.
So scientific progress or material prosperity?
I think C, sir, material prosperity.
Any explanation?
Sir, if we see with the viewpoint that he has been compared the two tradition, that is the ancient and modern. So that's why material prosperity.
So actually, if I look at the characteristic of the Victorian age, so at that time science was progressing.
Okay.
And Arnold discussed about the three classes also, like barbarian and Philistine, and third is populace. Yes, sir. So in that he discusses that barbarian will be the responsible for the culture, and also I think so scientific progress can be the option. But I'm not sure.
Okay. If I talk about the culture in his work Culture and Anarchy, he was talking about the different things about the different people. like the people from the different culture have their own characteristics, and one culture doesn't match with the other culture, and everyone is having a good integrity with their own culture. And if I talk about the word abstinence, abstinence means different things to different people. So the culture is different from the different people. So integrity and abstinence is the right answer.
Sir, what about internal purification?
Internal purification I have not gone through, but internal purification, what I feel here is the purification of the culture. The culture is purified from inside, and all cultures are purified in its own root. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So question number 6.
Sir, it is from the taste of the above village.
So in test, justice is done was the line, I think. And
Yes,
happiness
exactly.
is from the mayor of Castropolis.
Mayor of Castropolis is absolutely right answer. So Mayor of Castropolis, that's a novel by Thomas Hardy that was published in 1866. And these words are orated by whom?
So
The mayor himself, sir. He is the one who is talking about. Henchard. Henchard is the one who is
Michael Henchard.
Michael Henchard. He is the one who is talking, saying that he is having pain in his life
and died
throughout.
when nobody was left with him.
Yes, exactly. When his wife Susan Henchard and his daughter Elizabeth, when he sold his wife and he remained alone, that time he is narrating these lines to himself. Okay, again one question from British literature.
Okay.
So you have to understand this quotation.
So Shakespeare is right.
For finding such questions, you need to find out the language, in which language it is written. Is it a medieval language, or it is Elizabethan, Victorian? You can see lots of changes, like thee, thou.
You are not audible, sir. William Langland.
There is another word, white, W-I-G-H-T, the cruel white.
So is it by Spenser?
Spenser was, what was the timeline of Spenser?
Elizabethan.
Elizabethan. So all such words like thee, thou, white, helped, help lovers, all these are from the East Midland or West Midland.
It means
Chaucer.
So we have two options from the East Midland. Langland was the writer of West Midland. So Langland and Chaucer can be the option. But now if you find about the torment, sorrow, pain, these words, and if you recall the works of William Langland, only one work is very famous, that is Piers the Plowman. And in Geoffrey Chaucer, we have lots of options. So we should go with which option?
So actually it is from Geoffrey Chaucer. Chaucer, he has used it in Troilus and Cressida.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to give some hints so that you can guess, even if you don't know anything about this context. By looking at the words inside the lines, you can identify.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about next question that we have discussed while we were discussing about the different types of poetry.
Alexandrians.
Yes, sir. Alexandrian 6 line
Alexandrine. So very easy question. Question number 9. Identify the figure of speech.
So metonymy, sir. Crown refers to king.
Metonymy.
Yes, crown refers to the king here. A scepter is a kind of stick that is carried by the kings. They carry a string, so a scepter and crown. A scepter also represents a symbol of king. So metonymy is absolutely right answer. The prose work, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, very famous work.
William Blake.
William Blake.
William Blake.
Absolutely right. So this work
And
was
it is,
composed.
sir, title have been taken from Paradise Lost.
The book is written in prose, and the title is a reference to Emanuel Swedenborg. Emanuel Swedenborg has also written a work, Heaven and Hell. So from there, this title has been taken. Emanuel Swedenborg's work, Heaven and Hell. And it is a kind of eulogy to Dante's Divine Comedy, which is written in the same style. And Aldous Huxley has taken the title of his work, The Doors of Perception, from this work of William Blake, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. Okay, let's move to the next question. So you can find here lots of name of the poets are there. Like Ted Hooke was also a poet, Seamus Heaney, Alan Thomas, all are poets. And they are talking about the poetry of T.S. Eliot and W.H. Auden.
Sir, I think Ted Hughes was his answer. As Seamus Heaney is American, Roy Fuller is also. So Alan Thomas is left.
Yes, Ted Hughes is the right answer. Okay, let's move to question number 12. We have discussed this question so many times in the class when we were discussing about John Osborne. Look back in anger.
Yes, sir, in 20th century, but in the option it is not there.
Yeah, it is asking about 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s. So the year of publication of the Look Back in Anger will decide.
That is 50s, 1950s.
1950s, absolutely right. This work was published in the year 1956. So 50s is the right answer. John Osborne, Kingsley Amis, these were the main proponents of the Angry Young Man movement. Apart from that, there were some other members also like Philip Larkin, Harold Pinter, Alan Silito, and some other writers are also there. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 13. Again from the British literature, Gulliver's Travels, Elizabethan Age.
Yes, sir. Yahoos.
It is from
Honeycombs are like.
yes, it is from the fourth book of the Gulliver Travels, that is Voyages to Honeycombs. So Honeycombs were the horses and Yahoos were the apes. The horses were the leaders and Yahoos were just like the servants of those Honeycombs. So Yahoos is the right answer. Question number 14.
Sir Johnson.
Sir, excuse me, sir, but
Yes, please.
it seems like Robert Burton had said something about the metaphysical poets in his work Anatomy of Melancholy.
Okay, the next question, the relationship between signifier and signified. Again, question from literary criticism. Yes, it's arbitrary. We cannot assure that signifier is going to be decoded because it is arbitrary. At every place, one signifier is having different meaning. Again, the theater of the absurd from the modern British literature.
Martin Esslin.
Martin Esslin. Absolutely right. Question number 17.
So option D.
J.M. Keynes. This Memoir Club is nothing but the Club of Virginia Woolf, which is known as
Bloomsbury Group.
Bloomsbury Group. Virginia Woolf, Leonard Woolf, J.M. Keynes, Leslie Stephen, all these names are already there. Vanessa Bell. Anyone?
Sir, then Leslie Stephen should be there, I think.
Sir, is it Leslie Stephen?
Yes, it is Leslie Stephen. Because there is one name that is Vanessa Bell and Virginia Woolf. These two were the daughters of Leslie Stephen, and both were the members of Bloomsbury Group. Virginia Woolf's father name is Leslie Stephen. So if you know brief biography of Virginia Woolf, you can easily take Leslie Stephen. So the two daughters are Vanessa Bell and Virginia Woolf and Vanessa Bell. Okay, next coming to question number 18. So this question is again from short stories. Anyone?
Don't know, sir.
Okay, to me also the options are quite amazing. I'm not able to find the right answer because I have not seen Shropshire Tale. It's a tale by Amy Douglas, but it's not there
Yes,
in the
sir.
option.
Options are incorrect.
Yes, sir. But in the Google also I found the Emmy Douglas, and when I not found the answer, then I leave it.
Yeah, so this question will come under controversial questions. Let's see what answer key is given. Okay, let's come to question number 19. It's a very easy question. Even if you don't know anything about T.F. Poy's Mr. Western Good Wine, you just need to find is there any character Western in any of these novels? Character Mr. Western.
Sir, in
Emma,
Emma, there is a character, Mr. Weston.
Emma, sir.
Yes, exactly. In Emma, there is a character, Mr. Western, and these lines, Mr. Western, good wine, is also taken exactly taken from one of the line from Emma. So Emma is the right answer. Okay, next again a short story question. The open boat.
Stephen Crane.
Stephen Crane is absolutely right answer. It's a short story by American author Stephen Crane. Okay, question number 21.
Bombay.
Yes, Bombay is absolutely right. Rather, this novel is set in an unnamed place, but the setting is a bit placed in Bombay. The main theme is about the partition of India and as well as when the emergency was applied by Indira Gandhi in India during 1977. So that is the setting. So Bombay is the right answer. Okay, question number 22.
Prague school.
Pardon?
Prague school, sir. Option C.
Medley. The right answer is D, Patois. Patois is a kind of vernacular dialect. This dialect belongs to a particular region. The question is about dialect. Pastiche is the copy and paste of a particular work. Pastiche can never be the right answer.
Yes, a pastiche and parody are
Yes.
like same.
Yes, it's just the duplicacy of one work that is duplicated into another. That is a pastiche. The question is about dialect. Name of the dialect. So the doubt may be in B, C, and D, but never option A. So D is the right answer. Patois is talking about the vernacular language, the vernacular dialect. It's not a standard dialect. So D is the right answer. Next question number 23.
So option C.
Yes, exactly. Word tone is the accent and the sentence is known as intonation, that is modulation. Question number 24. just few days back when we were discussing about all the important critical works. Here also we have talked about this.
Poet, sir, poet.
Yes, absolutely right. Poet is the right answer. Question number 25.
Russian
Okay.
formalism.
Russian formalism. So another question from literary criticism. Russian formalism is absolutely right. Which concept of Slovatsky is very famous?
Fabula and Suzette.
Defamiliarization.
Yes, fabula, Suzette, and defamiliarization. These are the famous concepts of Viktor Slovatsky. Which is not a Freudian concept.
Overdetermination.
Yes.
Yes, when we were discussing about psychoanalytical criticism, there we talked about libido. Libido is the sex drive of an individual. Then we also talked about sublimation. Sublimation means the people are able to attach themselves. They are able to channelize themselves with the public. That is known as sublimation. And also we talked about condensation. That is the result of more or two incidents that are displaced with one another. Two or more incidents displaced with one another. That is known as the condensation. So overdetermination is the right answer. Okay, next question number 27. Anyone has gone through this question paper, you can solve. E.M. Thompson. Marxism and Literature is by Edmund Wilson. Culture and Society by
Raymond Williams.
Raymond Williams. Okay, that's good. And the Use of Literacy.
Richard Hogarth.
Yes, Richard Hogarth. So obviously the Making of the English Working Class is absolutely right answer. Next, you have to identify these characters: Leonato, Bianca, Livia.
Women beware women.
Obviously, so when we were discussing about the plays of Shakespeare, there we have talked about these characters: Leontio, Livia, Duke, Bianca. All are the characters from Shakespeare's play Women Beware Women. So you just need to identify the characters, whether they are playing chess or cricket doesn't matter. They could have simply asked Leontio, Livia, Bianca, the characters from which play, but they're just twisting the questions. So Women Beware Women is the right answer. Next, question number 29. We have read very in detail Jeremy Collier.
Restoration comedy.
Restoration comedy.
Restoration comedy is known as comedy of manners
and anti-sentimental. And anti-sentimental comedy. Sorry.
Yes, sir. So
it's restoration comedy is anti-sentimental comedy. Yeah, it's all about.
Sir, but in this book, Jeremy Collier, she has actually attacked William Congreve.
Exactly, the attack was on the anti-sentimental comedy, because the entire restoration comedy, starting from 1660 to 1696, all the works were just humorous. They were just written for to make the people laugh. There was no sentiment, there was no emotion, and because of that, Jeremy Collier attacked William Congreve and George Etheridge for writing only anti-sentimental comedies. So restoration comedy is the right answer. That's absolutely right. Okay, question number 30.
The Life of Jack Wilton.
The Life of Jack Wilton.
Jack Wilton, absolutely right. Question number 31.
D, sir.
Social and industrial problems, that's absolutely right. Question number 32.
M.H. Abraham.
Yes, Deconstructive Angel is an essay by M.H. Abrams, who is also the author of the Glossary of Terms. Question number 33. We have just few days back, we have talked about rhetoric and prosody.
Modern, sir.
सिमिली तो होगा नहीं, डेड मेटाफोर भी होगा नहीं, क्योंकि 2 बार रिपीट तो हो नहीं रहा है सर।
So death in life.
Death in life, yes.
ऑक्सीमोरन सर लग रहा है, क्योंकि डेथ का अपोजिट है लाइफ।
Okay, let's explain one by one. Parallelism. When there are two elements in a sentence and both have the same grammatical structure. So here we have the two elements, both death in life and the days that are no more, but they are not same. They are not having same grammatical structure. So parallelism is obviously not the right answer. Next is oxymoron. Oxymoron is only found when the words are close to each other. Death, life. If the preposition in is not there, then only oxymoron could have been the right answer. Next is simile. If we are comparing the things using as or like, then only this could be simile. So we can't find here. Simile is also not the right answer. Dead metaphor. Remove the word dead. Let's talk about metaphor. Metaphor is a direct comparison, comparison of two things together. So here, or death in life. So here death is compared with the life as a direct indication to the death or death in life. So metaphor is the right answer, and because the word death is used here, that's why metaphor is named as dead metaphor. So D is the right answer. Okay. Okay, next
yes,
question number 34. This dead metaphor is just to make the students confused. There is nothing like dead metaphor. There is a figure of speech metaphor, but this term dead is used to confuse the students. We have clearly gone through the John Fowles fictional Latin women's multiple narrators, multiple endings, 3 endings.
Option A.
Yes, sir.
And the endings are left in the hand of the readers.
3 endings, sir.
3 endings. And John Fowles is from which period?
Post modern, sir.
No, from Victorian period.
Okay.
So B is the right answer. Victorian love story. The entire novel, inside the entire novel, there is no degradation of war. Can you find war in this novel?
No, sir.
It's all about the love story. There's no war, or there's no effect of the post-war. The entire novel is about love story. So Victorian love story is the right answer. You need to go through each and every word. As I said, post-war is absolutely wrong. Question number 35. John Badgeman is absolutely right answer. He is a modern poet and he has lots of admiration for D.H. Lawrence, Lady Chatterley's Lover. When this novel was banned and again the ban was lifted, after that John Badgeman has written a review of Lady Chatterley Lover where he has put a lot of admiration about this novel. Question number 36.
So please tell the answer of 32 again.
32.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's
The
M.H.
deconstructive engine.
M.H. Abrams.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, question number 36.
False delicacy.
Love's Last Shift is a work by
One bro.
no
Jeremy Collier.
The Collie Sibber, I think it is
Collie
anti-sentimental.
Collie
No,
Sibber.
no, sentimental.
Collie
Yes,
Sibber.
sir.
It's a sentimental comedy. Collie Sibber, Love's Last Shift is a sentimental comedy. It's a restoration comedy. The next is the Conscious Lovers is by
Richard Steele.
Richard Steele. So when we talk about all the works after 1696, all are non-sentimental, anti-sentimental comedies. False Delicacy is by Hugh Kelly. So False Kelly is the right answer. And The Rivals is by
Sheridan.
R.B. Sheridan. Yes. Henrik Ibsen, father of realism.
Norway.
Norway.
Yes, is the right answer. (38). Very easy question. One of the easiest question of this paper.
Sir, waiting for Godot.
Nothing. Nothing happens. Nobody comes. Nobody goes. It's waiting for Godot. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, but it is mentioned as nothing happens twice. But
yes.
If you, but there are certain actions which are happening twice, like the one in which they actually flip the coin. It is done multiple times. But the question here is asking us nothing happens twice, which is not.
Nothing happens twice means this term nothing happens appears in both acts. It is a comedy in two acts, and in both the acts the phrase nothing happens appears again. When the part one of this, that is the first act, is going to be over, at the last line it says that nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes. And when the second act 2 also, when it finishes, the same phrase appears.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, you have to identify a war poet.
Alice Menil, not sure.
We have read about the war poets, isn't it?
Sir, Alice Menel.
Alice Manel. I also remember about Wilfred Owen and Edmund Waller. These two are for sure, they are the war poets. But I'm not sure about Ivor Gurney and Alice Manel. Ivor Gurney is also there, I think. Alice Manel should be the right answer. Anyone has checked the answer?
Yes, sir, I have checked it. And sir, okay. I found that Wilfred Owen, Siegfried Sassoon, Rupert Brooke, Robert Graves, Isaac Rosenberg, Edwin Thomas, Ivor Gurney, John McCrae, Vera Brittain, and August Tam Alien Seeger and Sidney Keys as the war poets.
Okay, then obviously yes, Alice
Sir,
Manning is the right
actually,
answer.
I read that on the grave of Ivor Gurney, there was the inscription by the poet Wilfred Owen that is, "My subject is war and the pity of war." So I think he is also correlated with this. That's why in his grave it was inscribed.
Yes, yes, that's right. Okay, so C is the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 40.
So
To
to
his
his
point,
choir mistress.
Yes, to his choir mistress. This is the last couplet of the poem. To his choir mistress is absolutely right. Yes,
sir,
Tanmay?
in that sentence, sir, where the about Himalayan and Gangas has been written in that's a stanza, I think.
No, this is the last couplet.
Okay.
It's written in couplets. So this is the last couplet, line number 45 and 46. Total 46 lines are there. And here he is talking about the sun. Earlier he was talking about the time, but now he's talking about the sun. That sun is stand stilling, and we will make the sun to run.
On golden chariot boat.
So to his choir mistress is absolutely right. Okay, let's see the next question.
William Congreve.
41.
William
William
Congreve.
Congreve.
William Congreve, very, very easy question. Next question number 42.
A Dance of the Forest, I think. But it is asking about autobiography.
It's about autobiography.
Don't know, sir.
Anyone has gone through?
So is it Lion and the Jewel?
Lion and the Jewel. Okay.
So Lion and the Jewel is the novel, and autobiographical element is not there.
Okay.
CD and Jewel, CD and Baroka, I think, is there.
Yes. So out of the four, none of the work is exactly autobiography. His autobiography is the childhood.
So actually, You Must Set Forth at Dawn is a memoir by Wollstonecraft.
The Dawn.
Yeah, You Must Set Forth at Dawn. It is a memoir by
yes, it's a memoir.
Wollstonecraft.
Yeah, that's a memoir. But exactly,
so
if you talk about
autobiographic elements
yes,
in that
yes. Too. So in that sense, this should be the right answer. B should be the right answer. But a memoir cannot be an autobiography. So, but if we go through the options, then we will have to choose B. Otherwise, he has written his biography. The title of the biography was The Years of Childhood.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, The Years of Childhood was also categorized under the memoir only.
Okay, but okay, fine.
AK, The Years of Childhood, this was the title, as much as I can recall.
Yes, yes.
Sir.
So we should go with this option B, right? Right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's move on to question number 43.
Toru Dutt.
Toru Dutt, sir.
Toru Dutt, absolutely right.
Henry Deroggio has written the Jingura, I think. What is that? The Fakir of Jingura.
Jangira. Fakir of Jangira. Question number
Elizabeth
44.
Barrett Browning.
Yes, sir. Elizabeth Barrett
Yes,
Browning.
Elizabeth Barrett Browning is absolutely right. Next question. Anyone has gone through the question? Kitur. Kitur is the character. Rani Chennamma. This Kitur Chennamma is modeled on Rani Chennamma.
Then Chennai, sir.
Question number 46.
Yes, Norman Conquest 1060 Middle.
Norman Conquest.
Norman Conquest.
Yes. Yes, absolutely right. Okay, question number 47. Foreign language teaching. Something like second language acquisition. Option A, language be taught in a specific realistic situation. That's absolutely right. A is the right answer. Preface to Shakespeare.
D, sir.
Yes. General nature. There's a complete
D.
chapter
Option
on
D.
preface to Shakespeare. The general nature of Shakespeare. So D is the right answer.
Derrida.
Derrida.
Discourse related to Derrida. You
Yes.
said in some
Yes.
class.
Structure, sign, and displays in the discourse of human sciences. A 1966 lecture by Jacques Derrida. Absolutely right. Aristotle, again, same question like Hamartia from the same chapter is repeated.
Reversal of fortune.
Reversal of fortune. That's very right. Okay, so here's the question number 51. So this question is again from literary criticism, post-colonialism. Few days back we have read about Frantz Fanon.
Sir, option A.
Yes, sir. Option A.
Yes, option A is absolutely right. Frantz Fanon was of the idea that the colonized people are scattered people. They need to gather together, then only they can come out of the colonial mind. So these intellectuals must dig up the fragmented culture, and with that they can collaborate their strength, and then only they can come out of this colonial perspective. Omniscient narrators. Omniscient means the narrators who knows everything. Heterodiegetic are those narrators who remain outside of the story. While they are narrating the story, they do not become the part of the plot. They are not the character of the story. They are heterodiegetic character. Homodiegetic characters are those narrators who are the part of the story. Analeptic is not a narrator, it is just a vague option. Prolapsus is the narrator who knows everything in advance.
So the answer would be prolapsus.
Prolapsus should be the right answer. Absolutely right. Okay, next question. That's a bit hazy. In which place does Corvino try to force his wife Celia to the protagonist's bed?
Volpone, sir. Volpone.
Yes. So if you know Corvino, Corvaccio, so all their characters from Volpone by Ben Jonson. Next question: who is the author of Diary?
Samuel Pepys, sir.
Year of publication?
Sir, 1660 to 1669.
Yes, sir.
1660 to 1669. That's absolutely right. Identify the members of the Cockney School of Poetry.
Sir, Leigh Hunt and John Keats.
Leigh Hunt, John Keats. There was another author. Who's that?
Shelley.
William Hazlitt was also included, I think.
Yes, Hunt, Hazlitt, and John Keats.
Sir, Shelley is also included, na sir?
No. Shelley is not there. Shelley is not there in the Cockney School.
Sir, but some of the critics believe that Hazlitt was not born in England. That's why he has been categorized out of the Cockney School of Poetry.
Yes, but when we talk about the Blackwood magazine, this term was used by the Blackwood magazine for the first time in the year 1817, and specifically that magazine has categorized Leigh Hunt, John Keats, and William Hazlitt as the Cockney schools. The main focus, the main attack was on John Keats only. So if you go by the option, D should be the right option. Okay.
Yes. So you discussed in the class also that Shelley belonged to a high class, as his father was a senator. So he was excluded from the group.
Yes,
by
exactly.
the critics.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the first next question. Question number 56. What do you mean by hypothesis? Very well, we have read this term, hypothesis.
B, sir.
B. It's a statement that the researcher wants to test through the data collected in a study. B is absolutely right. Hypothesis is a statement. It's a presupposed statement where we never know the truth of the statement. The first option is a research question. Question is your title. Research question is the title. And hypothesis is the statement. Some statement you make, and then when you prove it, the hypothesis becomes the thesis. Like if I say India is the richest country in the world, it's a statement. And you need to prove it. We'll collect the data from all around the world. And once it is proven, then it becomes the thesis. So a research question cannot be hypothesis. Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next question, question number 57.
Option A, sir.
Identification of
Yes, sir.
the question.
Identification of the problem.
That's true. Okay, next question, question number 58.
A, sir.
D, sir.
B.
The question is not a feature. So this is not a feature.
Sir, A, sir. Because, sir, there is no limit in character, first. And second is, sir, the scenery and costumes are very elaborated because everybody has put a mask on their face while they are dancing, and also it is followed that mask is followed through epode, uh, strophe, and one is antipode, or I don't
So
know
that is
third one.
ode.
That is ode. That is ode,
That is
not
ode.
mask.
Oh, okay, okay.
Masks were written during 16th and 17th century to welcome the host and the guest. So when the guests were arriving, the people used to dance using a mask, and they were performing the dance of different types, and they had to wear a costumes, and preferably those characters were symbolized using the Greek mythology or classical mythology. So the first option, the characters are deities of classical mythology, nymphs. That is partially right. All the characters are not from the mythology. But yes, some characters were representing mythology. But the next statement, that personified abstractions like love, delight, harmony, is absolutely wrong. The characters were not abstract. They were not representing love, delight, and harmony. The purpose was not to express love, delight, and harmony. Rather, the main purpose of mask was to delight the guest. So A is the right answer.
Black American playwright.
Susan
American
Lory Park.
playwright.
Yes, she is a Black American playwright. She has got Pulitzer Prize in the year 2002 for her play Down Dog.
Sir, kindly once kindly, sir, you take a class on American literature, sir.
Okay,
I
sure.
am also in doubt in American literature.
Okay, okay. We will do
Sir,
it.
please repeat the name for what he got the Pulitzer Prize.
It is Down
Down
Dog.
dog.
Okay, next question, question number 60.
North America, sir. North America.
King James I, during the reign of King James. So when we talk about King James, it's King James I, Jacobean age, 1603 to 1625. He was King James
North
VI
America.
of Scotland and King James I of England.
Asia, sir.
The first colony in Asia was India, and in India, the British people came in which year?
Sir, 31st of 1600.
100.
1600.
31st December
Exactly.
at somewhere Calicut.
And King James took over the throne in 1603. So obviously, it is not Asia.
Sir, North America, sir.
North America is the right answer. Okay, next question. What do you consider as the main aim of interdisciplinary research?
C.
Yes, sir. C.
C. Holistic approach means
Overall approach, like
overall approach. That's absolutely right. That means looking at something from all the perspective, from all the angles. That is known as the holistic approach. So obviously, interdisciplinary research targets about the overall approach or the all kinds of approach. Okay, next question number 62.
W beats.
WBH, sir. Because he is an Irish.
Irish modern poet.
Poet.
Okay, next question is from linguistics. Question number 63.
Don't know, sir.
First, you should know what is a morpheme. Morphement and morpheme is same.
So,
there
morpheme
is
is the
Smallest unit of the sound.
smallest unit of the sound. Yes, exactly. That means beyond that, we cannot further subdivide that sound. So if you talk about manage and meant, so meant is a suffix used here. When we put the suffix meant in the word manage, so we'll get the word management, isn't it?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I talk about the derivational morphemes are those morphemes which are formed by putting either prefix or suffix to any of the word. It can be prefix or it can be the suffix, like in and coming. So it becomes incoming. So it's a derivational morpheme.
Sir, what is inflectional morpheme?
Inflectional also I'm telling. Derivational morpheme, the other example is play and ing, playing. So here we are using ing as a suffix. But inflection means change the form. The literal meaning of the word inflection is change the form. Like eat, so you change the form, either it can be its or eat or ate or eaten. You just change the form. So that will become the inflectional morpheme. Zero morpheme, that means the hidden morpheme which is not pronounced. Like the word night, K is hidden here. So such type of morphemes are known as null morpheme or zero morpheme or hidden morpheme. Okay, so next coming to question number 64.
Sir?
Yes, please.
Regarding inflectional, if you consider the form of verbs, can it be taken for other parts of speech also?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So what should be the right answer?
Prefix and
Derivational
suffix.
morpheme.
Derivational morpheme. Because meant is a suffix.
Sir,
Okay,
64 answer is A.
A, exactly. And which you are waiting for?
1955.
Both the words.
So first published in 1552 and
1950.
answer it was
1955.
sorry 1952. Answer
And in
it was published in English in 1954.
1954, absolutely. Okay, question number 65.
D. T.F. Foy.
T.F. Poe is yesterday in this question paper itself, we have seen that he was a novelist, isn't it? Mr. Weston Goodwine. That the title was taken from Emma, Jane Austen's Emma. Yesterday we have discussed the novel of T.F. Boyce. The right answer is Sir Philip Gibbs. The right answer is Sir Philip Gibbs. Gibbs was the journalist who played a very major role in collecting the information from the First World War and supplying those news to the news agencies during the First World War. Rest all three are the novelists who has written novels having the theme of the First World War. Next question, number 66.
Sir, it is a adventure novel, but don't know it is epistolary, original, or romantic.
I think so. Psychological novel.
Okay.
Sir, actually, I've searched it on Google and I found that it is an adventure novel.
Yeah, that's true. But here that is not there in the option.
Yes, sir. So might be epistolary.
So maybe psychological novel.
No, it is not an epistolary. Epistolary means the novel that is written in the letter form. It's not epistolary. All the adventure novels are coming under the psychological novel.
Okay.
Because we are understanding why a character is doing adventurous activity. So we are studying the mind of the character in a psychological novel. So psychological novel is the right answer. Okay, next question. Question number 67.
Brangwyn family.
No, sir. A, sir. A, sir.
A, sir.
A.
Boundia family. Boundia family is absolutely right. 100 Solitude is totally revolving around Boundia family, and Brangwyn family is there in one of the novel of D.H. Lawrence.
Yes, sir. The Rainbow.
The Rainbow. That's absolutely right.
Sir, 100 Years of Solitude is talking about 7 generations, I think. Emma from Jane Austen, sir.
No, Emma Bovary. It's Emma Bovary. Both options are one name, Emma Bovary.
Yes, sir.
She is the protagonist of Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. Okay. Okay, next move on to the Indian literature question.
Novel, sir?
Pardon?
Novel is novel.
Gustave Flaubert, Emma Bovary. Madame Bovary is the name of the novel, and Emma Bovary is the protagonist of the novel.
Thank you, sir.
Who is the hero of Arkin the financial experts? So this question from Indian literature.
D.
Margay. Absolutely right. The very famous novel Rajmohan's Wife, first novel of India, published 1864.
Bankim Chandra Chatterjee.
Yes,
Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Yes, absolutely right. This is the first novel of India. This is regarded as the first novel of India. So this is important for all the exams. Question number 70. Phonology, the study of the sound, the science of the study of sound of the words. Lexicography is all about the collection of words into dictionary form. Morphology talks about the structure of the words, and the semantic talks about
meaning.
Meaning of
words.
words.
Sentence.
Yes.
That's a syntax, sir.
Pardon?
Structure of the sentence, syntax.
Yes, structure of the, it's not arrangement of the words is the syntax, not a structure. It's the arrangement of the words, subject, verb, agreement. That is called the syntax.
Okay.
But a structure of word is coming under morphology.
Sir, it was asked in the interview also that what do you understand by syntax?
Okay. So when you are able to match the subject and verb and the object together, that will be known as a syntax.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The other name of syntax is subject verb agreement. Okay, question number 71.
Northumbrian. Northumbrian.
Northumbrian is absolutely right. This question we have written in the first class. Class number 1, isn't it?
Where sir, Kentish language, Northumbrian, and
yes,
East Midland and West Midland.
yes, exactly.
Find a better soil.
So this question also we discussed while we were discussing about all the literary criticism, critics of England. So B is obviously the right answer. Find a better soil. And let's come to 73. Again, one more question from literary criticism. You can see most of the questions are taken from British literature and critical literary criticism.
Option A.
Option A.
Yes, exactly. So there's one thing is very interesting that Vimla has corrected almost all the questions of literary criticism as correct. Frederick Jameson is a postmodernist author. I.A. Richards is a
New critic.
new critic. And Ellen Tate?
New criticism.
Again, new criticism. Yes, absolutely. What does the term Baroque means in the context of literature?
yes, sir.
Baroque has been used in art also, art, architecture, but here the question is about literature. So when a grand style is used or highly decorated style is used for writing poetry, that is known as Baroque poetry.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Question number 75. Many times this question has been asked. I have seen this question more than 50 times. Through Witty's Nature to Advantage Dress.
Essay on criticism.
Essay on Criticism by Alexander Pope. That's absolutely right. Okay, let's move to next question. The last line, very, very famous line. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of the saddest thought.
Shelley.
Skylark. To a Skylark by Shelley. Okay, next. So the next question is about Henry
Yes, sir.
James.
Yes, sir. Transcendental.
D, sir. D, sir.
He was a realist author.
Was not transcendentalist.
So realism was there in the works of Henry James.
D.
D is absolutely right. It's a figure between realism and modernism. Okay, so here you have to find the figure of speech.
Extended metaphor, sir.
Irony.
Metaphor. Metaphor means relation between the two. What is the
Irony,
relation? What is the
irony.
relation?
Hyperbole, sir.
Irony.
Irony, sir.
Irony is absolutely right. Water everywhere. What is there everywhere? And all the boats did shrink. The ships are shrinking because of the waters all around. But there is not a drop to drink. So that's an irony. Water is there, but we cannot drink it. Hyperbole, we can say when we are exaggerating the things. It is not fit for appraisal, but if we are appreciating more than its value, that is known as hyperbole. And metaphor is not at all here because we are not comparing anything here. If we do not, if we compare anything without using the word like or as, that is known as metaphor. What are we are comparing here? There's no comparison. Metaphor is all about comparison. Simile, metaphor, both are the figures of speech about comparison. Are you getting Tanmay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move to question number 87. Graphic novel, that means comics. The novel having the picture like comics. So you might not have read, the right answer is Sabrina. Sabrina is the novel by Nick Darnaso, D-R-N-A-S-O, Nick Darnaso. Although it was nominated for the Booker Prize, but could not get. This was the first time any graphic novel was nominated for the Booker Prize. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Sorry, sir, what is the answer?
Sabrina. Option number A, Sabrina by Nick Darnaso.
Okay, sir.
What is the sound of M? So phonetics, very well covered in the class.
Nasal, sir.
Nasal, that's absolutely right.
Nasal.
Nasal consonants are those consonants that we pronounce from the nose. That means the air is coming out of the nose. So when we pronounce the word M, so we are closing the mouth and the air is coming out of the nose. B and M are also known as bilabial consonants. They also comes under nasal consonants. So nasal is absolutely right. What is fricative?
Sound is produced suddenly using some kind of friction, sir, like g.
Fricative, friction, very similar pronunciation, fricative and friction. So when we make a narrow opening of the mouth and we create a friction using our lips like f, th. So like this f, th, all are this known as fricatives. And what is affricates?
Slowly coming out. The air comes very slowly with friction.
Affricate means first you stop and then release. Stop the air and then release the air. Like when you pronounce the letter D, T. So you need to stop the letter, stop the air first and then release it faster. That is known as affricate. Okay. What is semi-vowel?
Glides.
those consonants which sounds like a vowel.
Y.
Like Y. Y. At the end you will find I. W. W. U. At the end you will find the vowel U. So such consonants are known as semi-vowels. Okay, question number 89.
England.
England. And who two friends accompany Hamlet?
Rosencrantz
And Guildenstern.
Yes, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. That's also a play by
Tom Stoppard.
Tom Stoppard.
Tom Stoppard. Yes, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. So Claudius is sending Hamlet to England so that he can be killed by the king. But he just exchanged the letter. He put his own letter in the hand of Guildenstern, and in place of Hamlet is killed, or both of them were killed by the King of England.
The White Devil.
John Webster, The White Devil, is absolutely right. The phrase immortal bird, very famous phrase.
Ode to a Nightingale. No. Sir, Ode to a Nightingale, Immortal Bird.
Immortal birds is Skylark.
Immortal bird is used for Nightingale by John Keats. Very famous phrase. So it is from Ode to Nightingale.
So for Skylark, he used the word blithe spirit.
Yeah, like the spirit. Absolutely. Okay, question number 92.
Nine
circles of fire. Absolutely right. Very well covered in the class. Question number 93.
Saints.
It's a very question. Okay, next question number 94. Looking at the option, you just see the keywords given in the quotation and try to relate keywords.
Sir, Dr. Faustus.
Dr. Faustus for aspiring minds.
I'll give you the keywords first. Nature, that frame us of four elements varying within our breast for regiment. The next keyword is regiment. That means some military war.
Tamerlane.
Tamerlane the Great. That's absolutely right. Whenever the quotation is given, try to look at the keywords, umbrella terms, and then try to relate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is quite new question, Nelson Mandela's posthumous work.
Long Walk to Freedom.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Long Walk to Freedom. It was posthumous published work of Nelson Mandela. Yes,
Sir,
please.
Long Walk to Freedom was published in 2002. Dare Not Linger was published posthumously, sir. 2017.
Dare Not Linger.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. I checked it yesterday, sir. Long Walk to Freedom was published when he was alive.
Yes, in 1994. So at that time he was there.
Okay, so dear not linger is the right answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 96. One of the deepest question. Until you read this play, it's very difficult to identify who is the speaker of these lines. The right answer is Sir Epicure Mammon.
Alchemist, sir.
Yeah, The Alchemist by Ben Jonson. Okay, question number 97. Indian poems in Indian English.
Sir, Nizam Ezekiel.
Nizam Ezekiel is absolutely right. Heroine of Ayavadana.
Nalini.
Padmini.
Padmini is absolutely right.
Sir, Nalini was the heroine of which one?
Rabindranath Tagore.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to question number 99. Eclectic approach to language teaching.
D. Alternate option.
To approach. Eclectic approach is the variety of approach.
B, sir.
So B is the right answer. Different techniques from different languages skills. So when varieties of approaches are used for teaching the second language, it's known as eclectic approach. Question number 100. Again, question from literary criticism. Feminist criticism, as I said, you have to study. So Helen Kixos.
So first A, B.
The Laugh of Medusa. So feminine writing. If you know the one answer, that is more than enough, because other options are unknown. Henry Louis Gates, Lee Edelman, Gerard Wiesener. So they keep such options intentionally that even if you know one option, you'll be able to find the right answer. So if you know Helen Kixos, The Laugh of Medusa, feminine writing, so obviously A is the right answer. Okay, so this was all about the 100 questions. Some of the questions were quite easy, some were mediocre, and I found 5-6 questions were really tough. So this is how the question paper is maintained.